fellow viewers and followers, and hopefully people who will follow me in the future. This is Diablo IV, Vessel of Hatred. We are currently in Season 9, it is active right now.
This leads to me having
Hello, folks, I'm back.
that only gets cut short.
Anyway, we're gonna make our character here.
And I'm jumping with my Hunter ulti into the enemies, Vortex pulled together, Hunter ulti, smash away with Raid, jump into the next pack, pull together, smash away with Raid, rinse and repeat. It's super fun and engaging because you're flying over the screen, pull the whole screen together, fly further. No matter what kind of content you're going for, the Infernal Hordes, the Pit, the Hell Tides, you're just zooming through like there's no tomorrow. The only problem you have is speed farming Belial. You do 200, 400 billion damage sometimes when you're actually going through the pit. But when you're fighting Belial, because he forces you to move around, even with 100% attack speed, I get him killed, but I don't get him killed in 2 to 4 seconds like my Druid does, or like my Necromancer does. That being said, you are the fastest when it comes down to flying through the pit, and also destroying pit bosses goes really well. Now, how is the build set up? How do you get more than 100% attack speed? This is 84.1%, but I have more attack speed going in attack speed cap number 2. I'll explain attack speed cap number 2. And most importantly, how do we stay alive and maintain unlimited resources? That's very important because the Crux rune gives you 100% more damage every 4 seconds if it depletes your Essence Glow, and that 100% more damage goes into your spirit.
And we are going to be doing the original campaign first before we move on to the recommended campaign.
Then we have Advantageous Raid. Hitting at least one enemy of raid reduces your longest active cooldown. Very good for your ultimate, but also for your Vortex cooldown to really get that fast slow again and to keep using it and keep using it. 1 point in Vigorous for the Vigor generation, and also 3 points in Velocity to get bigger while you're moving. We get our Vortex with a 1 second cooldown reduction on Critical Strike Vortexes. Most importantly though, casting Vortex increases the damage of the next skill by 20%. What you're going to do is Vortex Hunter. Because if you do Vortex Hunter, you get that insane damage boost on your ulti, that then goes also, again, into your Spirit Hall. Boost your damage while you're unstoppable, and we're more or less always unstoppable, with bonus damage against vulnerable, and bonus damage reduction from vulnerable. We get our Ravager, that gives us even more vigor, and then the Toxic Skin, passively increasing the Thorns damage we deal to poison enemies by 100%. Our enemies are always poisoned because of our Horadric power. Then Armored Hide together with Enhanced Armored Hide. Activate Armored Hide grants you maximum resolve and increases your Thorns by 400 for the duration. Very useful, as the resolve gives us then more damage reduction. What is really important is your ranks into Bastion for the bonus Thorns, and while you have Varia, your Thorns are also increased. And then we get Auspicious. You accumulate 3% of your maximum life as Varia every second up to 30%. This helps you to enter every fight Varia up, and if you have bonus Varia generation, that is even more Varia than it actually shows. With Nourishment, you're getting another 12% bonus poison damage whenever you heal. And you want to have that as we're doing poison damage with the Belazon's Max Ladder. Potent has our enemies take 30% bonus damage if we hit them with Jaguar skills, and that one you want to have as high as possible with an amulet. I don't have a good amulet yet. Plus Furnace for the bonus critical strike damage. Put all the points into the Hunter, together with the Exalted Hunter for the cooldown reduction. 3 points into Supremacy for damage stacking. With the Resolution, casting ultimate skill grants 15% bonus damage, and we kind of always have this as you use your Hunter more or less every 30 seconds. And then we get Intricacy, where if you cast an ultimate skill, the last focus skill can be used again. So you Vortex, Ulti, Vortex, Vortex, Ulti, Vortex, and so on. Lastly, you're playing Noxus Resonance. Your critical strikes cause your poisoning on an enemy to burst, dealing 180% of the total poisoning instantly to them and 20% of the burst to surrounding enemies before removing the poison strike from the primary target. We're doing this with the Noxus Resonance because we consistently poison with the Belazon's Max Ladle and also our infusion on the Horadric power to then feed the Jack Spirit Hall even more. And in order to now get the most damage possible, you need the aspect of playing mental. Now, Loyalty's mental set. Welcome, fellow Spiritborn, to the
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. When you see flashing lights, remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Step inside the world of flavors.
Use the razor blade, your survivability drops significantly. And also, we go advantageous rate. Hitting at least one enemy rate reduces your longest active cooldown. Very good for your ultimate, but also for your vortex cooldown to really get that fast slow again and to keep using it and keep using it. 1 point in vigorous vortex reduces your max lateral pans. And then we have advantageous rate. Hitting at least one enemy rate reduces your longest active cooldown. Very good for your ultimate, but also for your vortex cooldown to really get that fast slow again and to keep using it and keep using it. 1 point in vigorous for the vigor generation, and also 3 points in velocity to get vigor while you're moving. We get our vortex with a 1 second cooldown reduction on critical strike vortexes. Most importantly though, casting vortex increases the damage of the next skill by 20%. What you're going to do is Vortex Hunter. Because if you do Vortex Hunter, you get that insane damage boost on your ulti, that then goes also, again, into your Spirit Hall. Boost your damage while you're unstoppable, and we're more or less always unstoppable, with bonus damage against vulnerable, and bonus damage reduction from vulnerable. We got our Ravager, that gives us even more vigor, and then the Toxic Skin, massively increasing the Thorns damage we deal to poison enemies by 100%. Our enemies are always poisoned because of our Heraldric power. Then Armored Hide together with Enhanced Armored Hide. Activate Armored Hide grants you maximum resolve and increases your thorns by 400 for the duration. Very useful, as the resolve gives us then more damage reduction. What is really important is your ranks into Bastion for the bonus thorns, and while you have Barrier, your thorns are also increased. And then we get Auspicious. You accumulate 3% of your maximum life as Barrier every second up to 30%. This helps you to enter every fight Barrier up, and if you have bonus Barrier generation, that is even more Barrier than it actually shows. With Nourishment, you're getting another 12% bonus poison damage whenever you heal. Aha! And you want to have that as we're doing poison damage with the Paladin's max level. Potent has our enemies take 30% bonus damage if we hit them with Jaguar skills, and that one you want to have as high as possible with an amulet. I don't have a good amulet yet. Plus Furnace for the bonus critical strike damage. Put all the points into the Hunter, together with the Exalted Hunter for the cooldown reduction. 3 points into Supremacy for damage stacking. With the Resolution, casting ultimate skill grants 50% bonus damage, and we kind of always have this as you use your Hunter more or less every 3 seconds. And then we get Intricacy, where if you cast an ultimate skill, the last focus skill can be used again. So your Vortex, Ulti, Vortex, Vortex, Ulti, Vortex, and so on. Lastly, you're playing Noxious Resonance. Your critical strikes cause your poisoning on an enemy to burst, dealing 180% of the total poisoning instantly to them and 20% of the burst to surrounding enemies before removing the poison strike from the primary target. We're doing this with Noxious Resonance because we consistently poison with the Paladin's Max Laddle, and also our infusion on the Heraldric power to then feed the Jack Spirit Hall even more. And in order to now get the most damage possible, you need the aspect of Plane's power. This has a chance to create a Mystic Circle that gives you up to 21.5% more damage per stack of Ferocity. If you jump in with your Hunter power, you get the maximum stacks of Ferocity. This will put us at 12 stacks of Ferocity, and currently that would be 12 times 18.9. While I stand in that circle of Plane's power, it's 226.8% bonus damage. Quite crazy. Then we're also tempering the primary Jack Spirit Hall potency. Make it even more efficient, together with a Mystic Circle potency temper. And that bonus potency works so well together with the Loyalty's Mantle, which is, by the way, dropping from Grimoire the Galvanic Saint. That gives our Spirit Hall already 100% more potency, and then you boost the potency even further to have more out of it. For the Loyalty's Mantle, you want the greater effects on damage reduction. Damage reduction is king for the Spiritborn to stay alive. The runes on the weapon are Neo and Quartz. Quartz gives you 100% bonus damage, but depletes your whole resource. With this, we'll have to go for the infinite resource trait later. And then with Neo, you get 200 offering every 2 seconds. So every 4 seconds, Quartz will trigger. As we have consistent barrier up, we don't take damage. Then on the Paladin's Max Battle, which comes from Varshan or Urvar, the greater affix should be on Bastion, preferably also on Thorns, and you want that 150%, and then masterwork the Bastion further upwards. And for the Razor Blade, you won't have as many greater affixes as possible. The actual 200% bonus damage as you're hitting outwards, I don't really care about that. I just want the massive amount of Thorns to actually feed into the max ladder. Now that Mystic Circle Potency Temper on my weapon is the name of the game. My gloves have it too, Mystic Circle Potency, and I'm trying to masterwork it, Mystic Circle Potency, and Mystic Circle Potency. And you always try to masterwork it. And that's where the problem with the build comes in. I can clear a hit 90 right now, and I do 200, 300 billion damage. If I want to really bring this to the Super S tier and clear further, I need to triple masterwork the Jaguar Spirit Hall, I need to triple masterwork the Mystic Circle Potency, triple masterwork the Mystic Circle Potency, and triple masterwork the Mystic Circle Potency. Not only triple masterwork it, I would also have to look that it's as close as possible to the max roll. 22.5% is 1% off. Dude, this being 20.9 out of 23.3, that's horrible. That's 3% missing. It's terrible. And here, 20.1 out of 23.3, the second is here, 36 out of 43. You want the max roll on these.
Holy shit, that's
so much.
Build is powerful.
That's what you also need to really scale.
I'm killing single punches left and right.
Chat. Build will just be stuck at the A tier. On your gloves, we're also playing attack speed and armor, so we can actually hit the armor cap. Attack speed is needed, and especially greater affix attack speed, to really get to the 100% attack speed. If you're not having 100% attack speed, you're not getting the most out of the max battle, you're not getting the most out of the Jack Spirit Hall, as you have to do all the most amount of damage at the same time.
When you have Dell AI factoring with NVIDIA, you can feel it. Your needs are anticipated. Your ideas come to life faster. And your business keeps moving forward.
The aspect for your gloves is the Fell Soothsayer, and that one is amazing, because it says, killing a vulnerable enemy echoes the killing blow damage to another nearby enemy. This one goes bonkers farming the pit, because if now your Spirit Hall triggers and does billions of damage, hundreds of billions of damage to kill someone, well that will go over to another enemy, and that one dies and goes over to another enemy and goes die. It goes, yeah. A nice chain reaction to clear everything. If you're fighting a boss with ads, and you then destroy an ad with your Spirit Hall, damage jumps over to the boss. On your boots, you also want armor, max life dex, and then we have maximum ferocity stacks with the duelist aspect to get our damage even further up with the aspect of Plane's power. That one max roll is obviously one stack more, another 20% more damage. We have vortex size and then evade cooldown or movement speed. For our ring, we want to rate manifest a Spirit Jack, which also casts rate at a random enemy. This giving you, in a boss fight, just bonus DPS that then goes into your Spirit Hall. With 100 cooldown temper, we get our ultimate all the way down to 8.55 seconds, and we're looking definitely with the attack speed, dexterity. The critical strike damage I didn't want here, I would have preferred max life or elemental resistance, if I'm honest. On the amulet, you want a greater affix to dexterity, and preferable ranks into potent. If you get 5
with
potent,
those bracers, with the gloves, I mean, sorry, I call them bracers in the Diablo 3, sorry.
2 more ranks for your ultimate skill. And your second ring should pretty much copy your first ring with bonus attack speed.
So that brings it 13 item power, bringing us to a total of armor of 23.
Portion of my attack speed, it's 40%. In order to rival this, I would need a greater affix attack speed, a greater affix attack speed, a greater affix attack speed, and also attack speed on my amulet, to even remotely come close to the 80% I currently have, 84.1. I was going to say about Pony. If you get 12 ferocity stacks, ferocity gives you another 20% attack speed. Is that not going to exceed the 100% attack speed? It is, and it works. Because in Diablo 4, you have an attack speed cap 1 and an attack speed cap number 2. And for Spiritborn, your standard stuff, your attack speed from your gear, goes into attack speed cap number 1. And then things like ferocity stacks, that 20% bonus attack speed, well, that goes over in attack speed cap number 2. Which means if you manage to get 100% attack speed bonus, the ferocity is on top, giving you even more. What I'm saying is, try everything in your power to get greater athletes' attack speeds that you really get the most out of the build. Again, a hardship with the build because if you don't get the 100% attack speed bonus, you don't have something crazy going on, you'll never see the maximum out of the build and you always feel like you're actually weak. And that's in general a problem with the Spiritborn at the current moment. They're not feeling strong. I picked up the running Lightbringer with my Druid, and I instantly could jump into Torment 3. I was almost ready for Torment 4. I picked up the Loyalty's Mantle, the Battle's Max Ladle, and also the Razor Blade. And I was happy to do Torment 2, and had to fight to actually do Torment 3. And in order to get to Torment 4, I had to put on significant farm and also do all my tempers and masterwork already quite a bit to actually get there. The Necromancer, the Druid, and also probably the Sword, all have a way easier time into Torment 4, and they have a way better power curve feeling strong. The Spiritborn gets there, but you don't get there as easy as the others. You might have more unlimited potential with the Spiritborn, but again, you also need to perfectly masterwork to even remotely get there. Now, I could do a Pit 90 with my setup right now, and I really have to do a lot of work to actually get further. How do we stay alive now, though, and how do we have unlimited resource? For unlimited resource, it's quite easy. I told you that the Loyalty's Mentor reduces my rate down to 12 vigor cost. That's cool. Then, we also have the Reactive Ooze, which invoking Catalyst grants me bonus resource.
Here, we're about to enter a boss battle.
We get 10% more from activating Ravager. We get vigor when we actually run.
Now, this dungeon you can do over and over again.
We're skilled.
How you're going to want to do it is, after you do the dungeon,
3 Gorilla Jack with Centipede skills with the same skill in a row, restore 15% of the vigor and deal 30% increased damage. This means whatever cooldown we're using, because all our skills are Jack skills.
Nice steady time.
Yeah, so I can't find any left.
Oh, you're back, Doctor.
after you do it all the way through,
I wonder if I can find my roommate.
or halfway through, whatever have you, whatever you decide to do,
How about your car at Best Buy?
what you're going to want to do
Summer's here.
is press the up arrow,
You hunt. Head out for an unforgettable adventure. Or take a sporty sedan for a spin.
and click on Leave Dungeon. Then you're going to want to sign out and sign back in.
Right now, you can get a $299 per month lease on a 2025 Accord LX.
Or what you can do is after you leave the dungeon,
We are
go
going
to a separate,
restore
different
our spirit,
dungeon
and that with the bonus
close
vigor
by.
generation, we're always figured up. It's quite simple. What about staying alive now? Having always a barrier, because barrier is the name of
like the Black Asylum,
you gotta max out your armor.
and do that, then go back to this dungeon and do it again.
Complicated. I'm currently sitting here with, well, that's my resistance. And I actually do have to take an instance for that. Yes? I'm using the armor, and I'm using the all.
And that's one way you can basically do
Get
dungeons,
myself to the armor value. Despite
how you can grind on dungeons and stuff.
Those are going to be your biggest friends at the Alchemist. The Soothing Spices and also the Song of the Mountain. I consistently have them active to actually play my Spiritborn. As I also do use an Elixir of Fortitude to get that 20% bonus max life up to 12,000 life. And then you need the Arcana Bottled Wind. I use the Disintegrate for that because Disintegrate has the lowest possible cooldown, 5.3 seconds. No other one has a lower cooldown. Maybe Propulsion, but I don't want to actually kick our enemies away. Therefore, we're sitting here at the Bottled Wind, giving us the barrier every 4 seconds, together with the bonus resource generation, and also I fortify and heal for another bonus damage reduction of 15% as I'm fortifying. And in order to have that Varia be even more mattering, we're actually playing Varia Generation Gems instead of Dexterity Gems. That's into my all damage, but it's really worth it. Then we're playing the Tom Rune that tries to cast a non-channel core skill to invoke the Druid Person Bulwark. Yep, another Varia. So I only have to cast this 12 times, and 12 times happens really quick with 100% attack speed to consistently have a Varia of any kind up. And that gets amplified again by our skill tree with the Auspicious. You accumulate 3% of your maximum life as Varia every second, up to 30%. And we need all of this Varia anyways, because we're playing Vicious Shielding, 1% bonus damage for each 3% of your maximum life you have as Varia. Do you want to have consistently Varia out to get the bonus thorns, to have the bonus damage, to be alive? And for all of this, you do need a certain amount of maximum life. That's why we got max life here, we get max life there, we get another maximum life. There's no maximum life, this maximum life could go away. But we're looking around about at 12,000. For that, you also want to get as much life as possible from your Paragon board, but not only the life from your Paragon board, you really want to look for all the resistances. Right, like here, I have all the 1% resistances.
Bro, can you send me another invite to your server?
It's missing, taken. And I am actually looking to make my way into this one for another 6% bonus all resistance. If I actually take these nodes, so if I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more points, I could be getting my resistances finally resistance out. That leads us to the next problem with the Spiritborn. I currently have spent 250 points and on Paragon points 226. But I actually need to get to 250 Paragon points in total to finally feel done with the Paragon board. But before, I'm just treading water. I'm just like kind of stopping the leaks. With the 180 Paragon
Last
points,
I heard, he's doing just fine.
150 doesn't feel that
He's
good.
doing good.
I started feeling good with 225 points. I feeling good with.
Can you send me a couple other build guides for me to check out?
If I hadn't played the Druid and the Necromancer beforehand to push my Paragon points, the Spiritborn wouldn't even be fun to play. Just as your first character, you get lied to, you get tricked, you bought the snake oil. I'm sorry. And in order to boost your defenses even further, we hire Rahir for bonus armor and bonus 15% damage, and then Variana for that 10% bonus attack speed. In your Paragon board, we're playing the Aniglyph, which increases our non-physical damage, as we're actually doing that poison damage with the Paladin's Thorns a lot. Therefore, non-physical works out very well. Into the Spiny Skin, as we use a cooldown, we get more Thorns, and then we're going to be boosting the Thorns, and we take more Thorns, and we put in the Hoover Split to boost even more Thorns. So the magic nodes here, very useful. Up into the Convergence board for 30% bonus damage, together with a Wildfire. Damaging an enemy with direct fire damage is up to a 30% chance to reduce one of your active cooldowns by 0.5 seconds. That together with the cooldown reduction of our rate anyways, really has our cooldowns just deplete, and we're able to use our skills consistently at any given point, that we always have the Vortex and we always have the Hunter. So nice. Then we get the Vicious Shielding for that bonus damage on Varia, with the bonus damage reduction while you have Varia and bonus Varia generation. Ideally, I want to take these 3 points too, but I don't have the points. And I have to get the Revenge Clip up to level 45 to even activate it here. But it gives us another 15% bonus damage as we deal Thorns damage to our enemies, and it boosts the rare glyphs, which is actually quite nice. Lastly, we get the Sapping board, and if you start out with this build, I would use the Sapping board first and not last. If you have enough Paragon points, you can use it last. We get tons of attack speed here bonus, which is nice. And then we play the Ritual. For every 5 intelligence, we get more Mystic Circle potency. We currently have this up to 15% Mystic Circle potency. But we also get more damage and damage reduction in a Mystic Circle. There is more intelligence to take to even increase my Mystic Circle potency further. But I needed to pull points out of this to get into my all resistance to even stay alive. Again, if I had 25 points more, I could go into the resistance, and I could get even more Mystic Circle potency per in point, another 1.68%, to multiply out my all damage like absolute mad. Now, don't get me wrong, the Spiritborn is fantastic, but the Spiritborn is super S tier is absolute snake oil, Unless you're willing to sacrifice your soul to the company store, master work like there is no tomorrow, burn through your resources, it is not the biggest fun for the casual player. I am very sorry. If you're a casual player, you're better off not playing Spiritborn and actually moving over to the Druid or the Necromancer, which are way easier to flesh out and way more fun to play. Tell me your opinion in the comments below, and have a fantastic good day.
From that voice of conscious news, I'm Tammy Racing Faults, broadcasting from your brain. Tonight's top worry: if something happens to your apartment and you need to, stay in a hotel and pay for it. That would be crazy, right? Our Palpitations has more.
That would be crazy, Tammy, but you got surprisingly affordable renter's insurance through Geico, so it could be covered, giving...
Let's give me a few minutes, chat. I'm trying to decide what video I want to watch next.
So we go to Rome. The whole time I think that my boyfriend's going to propose. And I knew he wasn't. It was basically the most unromantic, romantic trip ever. I even ended up having to use my Sapphire Reserve card to pay for dinner because his card was not accepted. No ring, but at least you got that.
Hi everyone, it's Rax. Bringing you a video about how to level up in Diablo 4. This is the question I've been asked by far the most out of all of them, and I want to make a video here that's going to help you. Blizzard has nerfed a million different things about the game. And so instead of just telling you exactly right now what is specifically in this moment the fastest way to level, because it changes by day, I want to talk to you about some concepts about leveling, which are going to help you in different chapters. And I already have 2 100s, like 10 days into the season, so I know a thing or two about leveling. So let me hop on my bar here, who actually has everything unlocked, and I want to talk to you about some different options that you have. Okay, so starting out in the game, you have the option to, once you've beaten, I'm assuming you've beaten the campaign. If you haven't beaten the campaign, you do the campaign, because you have to do it one time. When you level a second character, you can choose do the campaign again or skip it. It is much faster to skip the campaign if you want to level up. So that's the first thing. Skip it if you want to level up fast. So let me tell you how everyone has been leveling. What they have done is they pick a
And once my Star Trek's finished installing, I'm gonna create a Let's Play for KDF, which stands for Klingon Defense Force,
lanes, and make a group, and everyone goes and clears one lane, and then you leave.
where I'll explain the species, the builds, all that.
Fixed it. Is the idea is to go into a dungeon, kill a bunch of monsters very quickly, and leave, not finish it. The way that Immortals solved this is they backloaded all the rewards instead of front-loading it. So you would get a lot of XP for completing the dungeon. You would get all the juicy loot at the end of the dungeon. That incentivizes you to finish it. Well, same problem in Diablo 4. They didn't fix it. Really what you do is you log into the dungeon, you just delete the monsters as fast as you can, and then you leave.
So enjoy this cutscene. I'm gonna make me some lemonade, chat.
People ask all the time, how do you reset the dungeons? Because they took out the dungeon reset. But what you do is, at the end of a dungeon, hit E and leave the dungeon. Okay? You're going to be standing outside of it. You can interact. That's the most obvious thing ever. Right? Leave the dungeon, escape, leave game. In that order. Leave the dungeon, then leave the game. And log back in, and then you'll be right outside the dungeon and you can walk in. If you don't do that, it'll port you to a town. You have to mount up and right back to the dungeon. And that's very annoying. Another thing you can do is pick really godly dungeons next to each other and just go back and forth and back and forth. Okay, so anyway, Champion's Demise was the best. That's how Rob got the world first level 100, just running Champion's Demise. Okay, they nerfed Champion's Demise, fine. So then the next best one was Ruins of Eridu. Guess what happened today? They nerfed it. And then there's other dungeons that they nerfed. And Blizzard released a statement. So they're going to balance all the dungeons so they're even. By the way, there was another really good one. Malgan something. I can't remember what it's called. Can't remember it a million times. So instead of talking about which dungeon right now is specifically the best, I'm just going to nerf one. Right? Let's talk about some concepts. Skip the campaign is the first thing. Find a dungeon that you like that has a lot of density in the game. Clear it, and then again, clear it. Leave the dungeon, leave the game, or find two on the way. Now, what else can you do? Leveling 1 to 2. There are certain events that pop up. There is one up right called Legion events. It'll be like a little icon like this, and it'll have a little bar going across it, letting you know that it's about to spawn. Those, probably pound for pound, give you the most XP for the time. If you ever see a Legion event, I think that's the highest XP per hour. Now, you can only do it once in a while when they're up, but that is something very important to pay attention to. Another thing that's very good is Helltide, which is up over here. Now the thing about Helltide, which I can port here and show you, is the monsters are always at your level plus 2, no matter what. This is very important in the endgame, which we'll talk about later. It's always your level plus 2. So if I go here on my level 100 bar, and I go outside, you're going to notice the monsters are level 102. Really the only way to find level 102 monsters or higher is in Nightmare Dungeons. And I released a Helltide guide to level 102 Balron. Okay? So, Helltide is another great way to not only get XP, but Helltide is, in my opinion, the best way to build wealth on your account. I've literally lost all of my gold. I had probably farmed at least 200 million gold. I actually lost it all dying to Hoover Lure. Trying to beat it with a regular, not exploited build. Forgotten Souls. If someone asks me, how rich are you, rats? Or if I'm trying to measure how rich someone is in Diablo 4, it's how many Forgotten Souls do you have. Not how much gold do you have. I can farm 250 million gold a day. Forgotten Souls, though, are way harder to farm. You get Forgotten Souls by doing Helltide. I just released a Helltide video, or I'm going to release a Helltide video. I don't know if it's going to be before or after this one. Watch that one. Because that's how you get rich. It's getting these Forgotten Souls. Do the mystery chest, do the strategy there. So, Helltide is good because the monster level is higher. And the mystery chests pay you a shitload of legendaries, etc. So, this is a good way to level up and build wealth. And that's pretty much it. Legion's events are the best. Look for Helltide.
otherwise efficiently run
that's
dungeons.
okay.
And you might ask, what about overworld farming and turning into the Tree of Whispers? You can do that if you want.
Your gaming goes good.
Current state of the game, and this might change, current state of the game doesn't seem very worth it. Then you say, okay, Rax, what about, what about doing all the side quests? No. Side quests pay literally nothing right now. So, it's just not good. And then you might say, well, what about doing the Renown a second time? When you've completed the Renown on one character, so this is the first character that I made, notice how it gave me a skill point, potion, skill, obols, paragon points.
Yes,
you do it a second time on a second character, you have all of these godly bonuses unlocked by default. The only thing that you get for doing Renown on a second character is gold. And the amount of gold you get is completely insignificant. You could run one Nightmare Dungeon and probably make as much as you would doing the whole set of Renown on your entire character all over again. So it's completely useless. So the only reason you would consider doing the side quests is either for the materials that they drop, which is, I guess, something, or the XP, which is really bad currently in the game. I would not recommend Tree of Whispers or side quests. I would recommend Legion events, Helltide, and running any dungeon that you like over and over. People are going to ask, okay, Rax, but just tell me what dungeons are good. The one that seems pretty good still is Blind Furrows. Some people also really like Forsaken Quarry. Now, all the best ones have been nerfed. They're nothing amazing. But those are ones that you can do for right now that are alright. Okay. Then you get to 50. You clear the capstone dungeon.
Alright, I'm back, chat.
Rax, what in the world do I do at level 50 to keep going? At level 50, you need to change the difficulty to World Tier 3. Now,
looking like study time.
Trying to.
Oh, you're the Noble Aura edition to block all my distractions. Sorry, is that distracting?
Just our routine. Find your focus on a Lenovo laptop with the power of Intel inside at Best Buy.
Because World Tier 3 is going to drop Sacred Gear. You need to remove the stuff that you're wearing, the normal items, and you need to replace it with Sacred Gear ASAP, especially your weapons. You can get whatever, an eye level 650, 700 weapon.
Yeah, he's playing Half-Life.
A 400 weapon, it will be a colossal damage increase. So that's the first thing. So you go into level 50, and what you do, I would advise the same exact things. I would advise the Legion events for XP, Helltime, because it's a higher level than you, and you can farm Forgotten Souls, which you will need in the end. You will do things that are illegal in 18 different countries for Forgotten Souls later. So you might as well farm them while you're leveling. And now you can do Nightmare Dungeons.
I want to check something before we leave town.
Is your level minus 54. That's the tier you should do. Because they default to level 54. So, if you do your level minus, or the key minus 54, you're going to be plugging the key that's exactly at your level. So it's going to be nice and comfy to clear it, and you will be getting some nice rewards. Okay? So, I am level 100. What Nightmare Dungeon key should I plug? 100 minus 54, 46. About. Now, if you're going to push, obviously punch it up higher while you're leveling. Try to stick somewhere to that rule. The Nightmare Dungeon key, minus 54. Nightmare Dungeons are the only way in the game that you can level up your glyphs. It's the only way you can level up your glyphs. So, at some point in your leveling process, you need to run Nightmare Dungeons with glyphs on. It's a huge portion of your power. Why not do it early rather than late? That way you have that power the whole time. Some people level to 100 and their glyphs are level 2, and then they power up their glyphs and they're like, man, that would have been really nice to have the whole time.
So there is like a Nightmare Dungeon tier list that we're working on. Some of them really suck. For example, like Sunken Ruins. This is like, look at this, where this is. These are the 2 closest waypoints. In order to even start the dungeon, you gotta run all the way through. We're begging for it before we get to the Nightmare Dungeon. Plug the key. Don't know if they're gonna.
Yeah, I cannot believe how powerful we are becoming, chat.
That's a topic for another video. Not all Nightmare Dungeons are created equal, but it's fine. I mean, whatever you have, just plug it. Just want to show you one thing.
If you're not subscribed to my channel, please make sure you subscribe.
Salvage the one.
We are currently at 16 followers.
Really, really like. The way you do that is on the focus. Go over here, down, focus, got a triangle, 3 circles around it. Here we go. Boom. Go here. Back. If you're just getting started, tap in between these gears. Okay. And then when you get up higher, tap the final ones, and then you'll be pumping. So make sure that you do that, salvage those going up, drop the ones that you do up. And that pretty much goes the same for when you hit level 60. When you hit level 60-ish, maybe a little bit higher, maybe a little bit lower, when you come a little bit more casual, or if you're a god player, do the capstone dungeon to go to level 70. It's a little gold dungeon somewhere over here. This gold dungeon, by the way, is Uber Villa. That's where I've been getting farmed for a long time.
Is anyone here?
You need to get into torment difficulty for exactly the same reason. You gotta get an 800 plus power ancestral weapon, at least the weapon. And you're going to be way stronger. It's the same strategy. Keep leveling up the Nightmare Dungeons. That way you can keep pumping up the gifts. Always look for the hell type. Make sure you watch the video on how to get the mysterious chests, how to get the drop soul. You're going to be rich by the time that you actually need it. Time to get gear if you want to roll stuff. The Legion events are still good for XP, and remember, I didn't mention this earlier, the Legion events drop a very rare ghost map. People love that. Ghost map. Does that sound good to you? Do the Legion events. Or you can just efficiently do dungeons with your friends. Nightmare dungeons with your friends. Super good. Because again, you can split off your objectives. So, that in general is the best ways to level. When the game released,
That's quite
it was very sad. Like the world first race was running normal dungeons.
But it is.
They designed all of these end game events like Helltide, Nightmare Dungeons, World Bosses. These really good. But now it's like very contested. So you're just going to be fine. Technically killed, especially while you're leveling up your base. It's just not good enough anymore. But out of all those endgame activities, it ended up being regular dungeons, which is why Blizzard is so actively nerfing it. Day after day after day, they're looking for every single thing that people are doing that's really efficient. It's regular activities, and they're nerfing it.
It was prophesied
So,
she would come back.
we'll see what changes come to Season 1. If they change the way that XP works, I'll make an update for this video. But those are essentially the best ones. Legion events, Helltide, and later on Nightmare Dungeons. Things to avoid are side quests for a duplicate Round of Renown, open world events, Tree of Whispers, and some of the really bad dungeons that they're starting to make. If you do dungeons, remember, you don't have to do the whole thing. Find a big juicy beginning, leave the dungeon, then leave the game, and then go back in. That's my fastest way to help.
Find out what
I
she's
really hope that
after.
helped you guys. Let me know in the comments if this video was stupid and it didn't help you. Let me know and try to get some feedback from it and make it better. But I keep getting asked this question, and this is the best answer that I can possibly give you that I can think of.
If we can't stop Lilith.
Getting the VXD and PXT with DL4B and G from BCATs to align with the J from K from GDC. Dan, thoughts?
I'll lock in the L4B and G and align it with GC.
Sounds great. I'm Tim Stevens, and this is the 2025 Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. The RAV4 is Toyota's best-selling model, and it's consistently the best-selling SUV in the U.S. But for the 25 model year, does the hybrid offer enough tech and performance to stay ahead of the pack? We're going to run through all the numbers, then we'll give it the full Capital One review treatment to find out. Under the hood, we have a 2.5-liter four-cylinder connected to a CVT, and all-wheel drive is provided by an electric motor that's back at the rear axle. There's 219 system horsepower, there's 41 mpg in the CV.
Hi everyone, it's Drax. Today it's something pretty cool. I hit level 100 on all 5 classes. I did blast them since the start. And one thing that I did not do is I did not get boosted. I did not just sit there while a bunch of 100s ran me through Nightmare Dungeon 50. I leveled up. Not just myself, I leveled up in groups, but I made sure everybody was at my level, or sometimes I played by myself, and to make sure that I got the actual experience of progressing my character and how difficult it was in actually running about the classes. So I'd just like to go through and talk about each class and my experiences on them. One full playthrough to 100 does not make you an expert on anything. But I do think I will have somewhat of an idea of how to compare the classes and see what they're good at and my thoughts on them going forward. So let's start with my favorite class, Barbarian. This is the class overall that I have played the most. It's the class that I started on in Diablo 4 and raised to 100 on.
When we get to Kiova Shad and get to a waypoint, we're gonna stop the video there.
Best build in the game for any class by far. And I've people bar before 10 of any other class. At one point in the assessment that build was back in season 1. I played Hoda. Barbarians, unfortunately, were plagued by a lot of bugs, and spoiler alert, there's another bug that's going to be fixed the bar, which is going to nerf them again. Where the Hoda Shockwave does more damage on the outside than it does way more damage than intended. And that gets fixed. And that gets fixed, that's going to hurt. They nerfed the shout cooldown, and they made it's very hard to find the shout ring, and they nerfed the shout ring. Keeping your shouts up all the time is very difficult. Believe it or not, despite all of these things, I actually think going forward in the game, bards are going to continue to be one of the best classes. Right now, in endgame, they're probably one of the worst. But they've been nerfed so many times, there's so many bugs, but by the way, a lot of them were reported on the beta, in Litbit. If you're going against Uber and Lilith, Barbarians certainly can't kill her in one shatter combo. Barbarians can't poison and mute her down, or anything like that.
Thank you, bro. I'll check that out here in a few minutes, as soon as I stop this video.
However,
that I'm making.
Despite all of that, I still have faith in the Barbarian going forward. The extra legendary aspects on your gear, it's just going to make them overall pretty good. If we can find any ways in the future to gain any more CDR, if physically stop nerfing it, having the permanent shouts will help us. And the other thing that this might do is they might move away from this gameplay where we are taking all the shots. And I think the easier way to do that than just nerfing the shots over and over into oblivion is to make the other skills more worthwhile. Take some of the other ones, like the Iron Skin, or sometimes you pick if people are messing around with Death Blow, but it really isn't a great reason to take the other skills. Give us a reason, then the Barbarian will be more versatile. Right now, leveling up, they're pretty rough. In the mid-game, speed farming, they're still really good because of Hoda and Whirlwind. In the end game, they're good with Hoda because of the bug, which is going to be fixed. It's going to really hurt when they lose it. But still, I'm optimistic for Bar going forward because of the way the class is structured and built. They're very tanky, they're very fast, the shouts are very powerful, and if they would just give us some damage here, I think that would be Druid. So Druid right now, pound for pound, is one of the best classes. They're just so good. The Tornado Werewolf Druid might be the best build overall in the entire game, especially since Bone Spear is going to get nerfed for that next. Pulverize is good, just really suffers from single target. I played that level. The chase for the Tempest Roar is very tough. That helmet that you need to make the werewolf build work. Now you can target farm it and hell type by farming the helm chest, which is what everyone was doing yesterday, trying to get a shotgun. So they nerfed it, took that out. You should be able to target farm it a little bit easier. That will help a lot. Druids have a large amount of unstoppable, and actually they're very fast. They're like, I feel like I am a mount in the dungeons. So they're currently in a very good spot, but unfortunately I think it's for really one legendary power that I just don't think is going to survive, and that's Rampaging Werebeast. The Rampaging Werebeast is a legendary power which I believe gives you 990 crit hit damage. There ain't no way Blizzard's going to let us keep a legendary power with this 990 crit hit damage, and it's used in a lot of builds. People are really liking the Shred build. Admittedly, I didn't play it. I've seen it. People really love it, so that's another alternative. The Bulwark build is going away. People always ask me about that. It just makes me roll my eyes. It's going away. Yes, it's unkillable, and it's here in Nightmare Dungeon 100, but I'm not here for these broken-ass builds that are going to be fixed already. I'm actually surprised that Bulwark has survived this far. I'm a little worried about Druid's damage once they release Rampage and Werebeast. If Blizzard is going to fix it. If they don't fix it, then Druids are going to be pumping for a long time. But anyway, it seems like more attention has been put into the Druid legendary powers and their uniques than a lot of the other classes. They make this, you start out as a human throwing tornadoes that don't have to do anything, and you finish as a werewolf using the Werebear ultimate, turning you into an ultimate werewolf that runs at the speed of light and has almost infinite resources, and the tornadoes that summon home in on enemies, and they do a bajillion damage. It's like, well, that was all made possible by this intricate connecting of legendary powers and uniques. That's a lot.
This game, you're not ready for it.
You're in the middle of this beautiful sci-fi environment, and you're seeing intrigue, the espionage, the alliances form, the power that shifts around. It's amazing to watch.
Simple actions can have massive effects. You can cooperate with people, compete with them, make friendships, deceive them, betray them. It's amazing to think that it's all just other play.
More players start coming. It just starts this complete cascade of actions, and you don't know what's going to happen.
It is a free for all. People get locked up and shot instantly. People start dying left, right, and centre. It's just something that you can't get anywhere else. It's just a rush like no other.
Everybody's on this journey and writing their own stories, and that is probably the simplest way I can describe it.
Things continue to change and evolve. It's awesome. I love it. It's part of it.
I'm often dry stabs with that pain.
Philosophy to me is good. You really build like the entire structure of the character, and when you finally get that Tempest Force drop, you finally get that Direwolf drop or the Rampage and where you put it all together, then you make this brand new, this new character. I think they did a good job there. So Druid's fate is probably going to be good going forward if the same designers are still working on it that built.
Good luck on your gaming.
Most options. And by the way, I leveled up. I started as Tornado, and then I got the pulverized shockwave power at like level 30, and I switched. Both of them seem very strong. So I don't know if that tweaked Tornado. Tornado already was the best like vanilla leveling build for Druids. But when I played it, it was actually very strong. I played it as a melee skill, so Druids weren't exactly the 17 damage Druid that I remember in the beta. I think Necros are not in a great spot. Now, people, the thing I hear all day long is, yeah, Bone Spear, you throw one Bone Spear with the Bone Spear to make the shape, does like 60 million damage. Kills the Lilith in 60 seconds, and it just crushes the entire game, and you said Necros are the worst. Gotta be honest with you, I pretty much have the same opinion, nothing changed. I have a Bone Spear now. Here he is. Here's the thing. Yes, the Bone Spear has scaled out of control. Almost 99% certainty that Sid is going to bring it back down to Earth, which is way stronger than anything else. I would encourage you to look at the rest of the class. I was in looking. Blood Mist is the most godly ultimate skill from Uber Lilith. It's amazing. It just keeps moving the waves. It's like Flame Shield for a sorcerer. But that's your movement skill. Make you slow and play the infamous build, which I think is really blown out of proportion. It's like a miasma corpse explosion thing, right? It's, I don't know, to me, it's like a very bad version of Whirlwind. You run in, miss, spin, kill him and move on, or you can just Whirlwind for 2 seconds, do the same thing. Or Tornado Druid doesn't have faster. I'm not really a believer in that. Haven't seen any blood builds that have moved me. The minion builds are only, like, there's a bug with Bone Surgeon, and when they fix that, the minion builds are going to go way down, and their survivability is really bad. Corpse Tendrils, like, they released a patch, no, for the fixing Corpse Tendrils, but Corpse Tendrils requires a corpse. The whole point of Corpse Tendrils is to gather up the enemies, but in order to gather the enemies, you have to kill them. And then you have to click the corpse accurately, and sometimes the corpses despawn. Sometimes Corpse Tendrils pixels them perfectly, and sometimes it doesn't. Necro survivability is not the highest in the game. I don't know. Where are people coming up with the fact that Necros are gods? Because you're running around with a Bone Spear build, getting everything for 60 million damage? Where exactly is the godly part about Necros? Curses? Decrep? That's the godly part? I think when Bone Spear is brought back down to Earth, I think Necros needs help. I think they need some movement speed. I think some of those skills need to be a little bit easier to use. I think the minions need to be more viable in the end game, especially in terms of survivability. They don't need to run around and do 1 million damage each, but you need to give us a reason to take them. This is the class that I just have a question mark about going forward. Rogues, man. Rogues are good. They're good at everything. Everything that I said that I thought would be bad about a rogue was wrong. I said that their survivability would be really bad. It really isn't. I said that rogues would be like really good for a pro, really good for a cat, really bad for a casual. Nope. You just run around with the speed of light, dash, shadow step, twisting blade. You hit it correctly, you play it properly. You don't hit it correctly, you don't play it properly, the output is insane. They're good all the time. They're good from the beginning, they're good all the way to the end. Nightmare Dungeon 100 is actually challenging for them. I think they don't have it as easy as some of the other classes, but it's been done. Uber Lilith, they're incredible, even if you take away the nonsense with the bursting venoms, which is coming to light. Even if you take that away, they've got multiple builds that can kill it. People are discovering that their bow builds aren't quite as bad as we thought they were. Maybe they're not up to the level of
Ants are communal and can't live alone, but you'd rather be independent of ants. But that just makes the ants want you more because they always want what they can't have. There, independence achieved with Raid.
S.C. Johnson.
You bought a $120 boldly stylish entire back-to-school outfit for $64, which means you also bought a $120 morning with your kid actually dressed on time for $64.
Interesting ways, but they're doing pretty good. Rogues are just good. They feel good. Yeah, I mean, if they get anything in the patch, I think they're going to be one of the best classes, if not the best class. With the current state of the game, if I'm racing 1 to 100, starting with nothing on a season start, I think your best chance to reach 100 first is on the road. They're just good at everything. Everything feels good, even their humans, their energy, their resources in the end game. Rogues just work. They just do. They feel great. If you haven't played Rogue, you should play them. Here we have Riker in a very elegant gown. I finally found everything by the time I finished my Sorcerer. I did Sorcerer last because, kind of like in Necro, I think Sorcerers are in a bad spot, but I think the Sorcerer kit is currently better than the Necro's kit. Teleport is very strong. Frost Nova is very good. The problem is pigeonholed into taking Frost Nova all the time. Leveling up with Chain Lightning was no problem, as I thought it would be. I also used Ice Shards during the leveling process. Try that out. It was very strong. I think probably the school of magic that's the most behind right now is Fire.
The ones I want to get is this one.
Maybe you take the Fireball or the Firebolt enchantment slot, sure, but I don't want to play Fire leveling up. Firewall is okay, and it's not great. It's okay, but it's not great. Hybrid effort.
No, complete.
So I think Fire Sorcerers need a strong revisit here. There's a problem with Sorcerers, and Necro kind of has this problem that Rogue and Druid and Bard absolutely do not have. And I think the way that you approach solving this problem just goes back to Blizzard's philosophy on Diablo 4. What I need to do, if I want to do damage on my Ice Shard Sorcerer, is I need to teleport in, freeze them, and then do damage to them. That itself is not any kind of a rotation. That's fine. I have no problem deleting everything like that. But it becomes a problem when you start to do things like bosses, or when you start to do harder content, and you're fighting elites that don't die in one Frost Nova. And bringing back Frost Nova is very, very difficult. The Sorcerers are very, very squishy.
So, we're going to be going with a Quinn volley build.
They're bringing the squishiest class into a melee playstyle in order to deal maximum damage. And
so, stay tuned for the next episode of Diablo IV Spiritborn Let's Play.
To look at barbarians that are just whirlwinding or hammering or whatever the feature is, rending or upheavaling.